So imagine this. A government announces a brand new, state-of-the-art urban warfare training center. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a decisive move to keep everyone safe, right? But what if it's actually a distraction from the real, everyday problems on our streets? Today, we're digging into that question. Are we preparing for the wrong war? And this quote, right here, gets to the very heart of the matter. Are we so focused on these flashy, headline-grabbing solutions for some huge, spectacular emergency that we're actually losing the day-to-day battle for safety? It's a question that really forces us to look past the official press releases and see what these choices mean in the real world. So let's start with the official story. We have to go back to December 15th, 2025. That's when the government unveiled its big plan, a new urban warfare training facility, or UWTF for short. And the goal, at least on paper, was pretty straightforward: to give its police and paramilitary forces some truly elite, modern training. I mean, just look at the capabilities they listed. We're talking close quarters battle, hostage rescue, clearing multi-story buildings. It all sounds incredibly professional, absolutely necessary. These are the kinds of skills you'd want for the most extreme threats. On paper, you'd think, wow, this is a huge upgrade. Okay, so that's the shiny official story. But now let's switch gears and look at the reality on the streets. Because when we shift our focus from these, hypothetical crises to the daily experience of regular citizens, the picture, well, it starts to look a whole lot different. So what's this number? 187? Well, that's how many burglaries were reported in the city of Shillong in just the first 10 months of 2024. Think about that. This isn't some rare, spectacular event. This is a common, invasive crime that directly hits people where they live, day in and day out. And here's the kicker. This isn't just a number frozen in time. That 187, it actually represents a sharp 20% jump from the year before. So while the government is busy preparing for these big future threats, the real and present danger of crime on the streets is actively getting worse. And it's not just about burglaries either. The problem goes way deeper. What we're actually seeing are these systemic failures across the board. Drug seizures happening every week, deadly road accidents every day, and a justice system that's just creaking at the seams. There's no effective citywide CCTV. The courts are slow, the forensic labs are under-equipped. These are the nagging, persistent issues that define what safety actually feels like for the public. All right, so this all brings us to the big fundamental question: money. What is the real price of this new facility? And maybe more importantly, what are we giving up to build it? And this table, wow, it really lays out the choice in black and white. That 50 to 100 crore rupees for the one training facility, well, you could take that same money and fund all of this instead. Thousands of CCTV cameras, better forensic labs, even housing for police officers, community policing, and fast-track courts. It's one massive project versus a whole toolbox of things that could fight everyday crime. So that's the dilemma, right? It's a choice between two completely different philosophies of security. Do you pour your resources into preparing for a one-in-a-million kind of event, or do you invest in preventing the hundreds of crimes that are actually happening month after month? So you have to wonder, why would a government make this choice? Well, it turns out there's a concept in criminology that it nails what's happening here. It perfectly captures this tension we're seeing. It's called security theater, and it's when governments roll out these really visible, impressive-looking security measures, like, say, a high-tech training facility. They give the public the feeling of safety. It makes it look like decisive action is being taken, but in reality, these things do very little to fix the root causes of crime. It's all about looking tough rather than actually making things better. Optics over outcomes. And this right here breaks down those two approaches perfectly. On one side, you've got tactical policing. That's the UWTF. It's all about elite skills for rare events, projecting that tough-on-security image. But on the other side, you have what citizens actually seem to need: strategic policing. That means things like daily visible patrols, a system that focuses on getting convictions, and building trust in the community to stop crime before it even happens. Okay, so with all that in mind, it leads us to some really critical questions that, honestly, we should all be asking about a policy like this. And it's a really simple, data-driven question, Before you go and spend 100 crore rupees on a facility for a very specific skill set, shouldn't you probably ask, how often are those skills actually needed around here? And the answer, based on the historical data for this area, It's likely 0, or a number so small you could count it on one hand. And that one piece of information, it just completely changes the conversation, doesn't it? It immediately makes you question the urgency and the sheer scale of this whole investment. And you know what? That brings up another huge point. For the kind of extreme, once-in-a-decade event this facility is designed for, with the national-level special forces, like the Army or the National Security Guard, be the ones to handle it anyway? This suggests the facility might not just be a questionable priority, it might be totally redundant. So, when you take everything, the data, the money, this whole idea of security theater, it all boils down to one final takeaway question. And really, this is what this whole debate is about. Is this a forward-thinking, necessary tool for modern policing, or is it a classic case of security theater, a spectacular, expensive project that's pulling massive resources away from the basic tools we need to win the everyday battle for safety on our own streets? That's the real question we're thinking about.